Good day, folks. I'm Tim, and in today's video, we're going to finish what we started last week. If you watched my last video, I mentioned reaching 2 milestones. So I've now had my Bike Tricks Juggernaut Ultra Beast 2 for 6 months. I finally had my first minor mechanical difficulty on a ride last week. I broke a spoke. And in today's video, I'm going to address that second milestone, the broken spoke. But before I proceed, let's take a quick flashback to see where I left off last week. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this rear wheel off and run it down to the bike shop to see if I can get it fixed. So you might be able to see here the wheel is slightly out of round and slightly out of true. You could definitely hear the spoke when it was spinning. And here's the culprit right here, you can see. So I'm gonna pull this wheel off, take it over to the shop, see what I can do by getting it fixed. So I just need to take a 5mm Allen key and just start threading the axle out of the sucker. It's the nice thing about a through axle. As you can see, I've already taken it off, it's done. There are slots in the dropout where the axle comes through. You've got to be careful not to harm your rotor. You got to be able to get the chain off, and voila, the wheel's off. All right, so we're gonna remove the tire. So I'll just remove tube and tire liners real quick. Okay, you can see, obviously, I have the wheel off now with its broken spoke dangling around, and I'm just going to run it over to the local shop and see what I can do to get it fixed. All right, just got done with the shop. Estimate was about 40 bucks in labor. It's going to take about 2 days for them to fix the wheel. When I get the wheel back, I'll continue this video then. All right, it's now 2 days later, and the bike shop called. And the wheel's ready. It stayed within the estimate of 40 bucks. It's now a few days later. I had to work this week. I work full time. Today I'm gonna go ahead and get the tire put back on the wheel, get the wheel back on the bike, and get this thing back up and rolling. All right, so here's the repaired wheel. Spokes are all fixed and good to go. All right, so let's get the tire put back on the rim here. Changing tires can be a little challenging at times, so you just gotta be patient with it. I'm gonna go and get the tube put in now. I have a little bit of air in the tube just so that it keeps its shape. All right, the hard part really here is getting the tire liner in and getting it in the proper place. You have to kind of tuck it in between the tire and the tube. All right, I think we might be good to go here. So now we're just gonna get the second half of the tire seated. But when it gets down to this part here, it can get a little challenging because you don't want to pinch the tube as you're seating the bead in the rim. So I like to try to go as far as I can by hand. Eventually you can start to do this whole process without even using a tire lever, which is great because when you're starting to put tire levers in a high pressure area, you definitely increase your risk of pinch flaps. And there we go. So now we're just gonna get a little bit of air in here. .2. So one thing I want to show before I start to put the wheel on is if you have disc brakes and you have your wheel off, you want to make sure you don't compress the brake lever because it'll throw your brake pads out of adjustment. Disc brakes typically will come with these. This actually came with the front disc. Because when it was packaged, the wheel was not on it. And so when I pulled the back wheel off, I went ahead and just inserted it in here because I knew that my wheel was gonna be off for like a week or so. If you happen to have the little disc shunt that came with your bike, keep it because it will come in handy in the future. Dealing with the wheel and the through axle is not an easy venture because you have to get the chain on the chain rings and you've got to get the derailleur out of the way. And you gotta be able to get this thing pulled back in a position where you can get the through axle slots into the dropout of the frame. If I can do this in one shot, I'm gonna be super stoked. because it usually takes a couple tries. And all right, there we go. It is slotted in the dropouts. Now remember, I'm using the Burley through axle because I do have the Burley trailer hitch on here. And see, the nice thing about a through axle is it just kind of goes in. So if you don't know a through axle basically goes all the way through the hub. It's not threaded on the left side. The threads are on the axle on the far right side. And so once it goes all the way through and gets to the other side, this is where it actually threads. So you're gonna thread it through. Now I'm gonna torque it down a little bit, get it lined up. And that's it, that's all there is to it, man. This thing is on. All right, welcome back to Earth. Okay, the wheel's back on, all mounted and good to go. And so we're just gonna take this little thing for a test ride, shall we? Well, all right, as you saw, that all pretty much went off without a hitch. The little test ride was fine, no problems. As far as the broken spoke goes, you know, a broken spoke is not a catastrophic mechanical failure by any means. Generally, when a spoke breaks, it's down by the hub, which is where mine broke. And it's long enough to where when it broke on me, I just kind of tucked it in between two spokes next to it. Broken spokes, when you're 280 pounds like me, you're eventually going to break spokes. I'm kind of used to it. I usually start breaking spokes about every 350 miles. So I'm actually quite surprised it took this long. But it's something I'm used to. And you know, what happens is one spoke will break and then you get it fixed. Another spoke will break, you get it fixed. Eventually you just have to have the wheel relaced, you know, rebuilt. Well, all right, I'm gonna wrap up this video. If you like my content, please be sure to subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. But if you do, just give me a little comment in the comments below. Let me know why. What more could I show to improve your experience? Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications when I release new videos. I do have some videos planned. In about 3 weeks, I'm gonna be taking a 3-day road trip on the e-bike. Yesterday, I got my new Baku 200-watt solar panel that has a solar charging control box that plugs directly into my bike. And so I think my next video is going to be doing a little test with the new Baku 200-watt solar panel and charging up my Bike Tricks Juggernaut Ultra Beast 2. If you want to know more about Bike Tricks bikes, feel free to check out the link in my description below. That's going to be all for now. I thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.